Here's a little video blog of a refinished bathroom cabinet. First thing I do is I clean everything out and I start taking the faces of the cabinets off. I mark everything. This is the right side up, left door up, center door up. And this is to make sure it's easy to put back together so the screw holes all line up. This centerpiece is kind of a fake cabinet door and it's held on just by a little metal thing. It just like pulls off. And I use a Dremel tool to engrave the letters so when I sand they won't be worn away. And I organize the hardware so it'll go back exactly right. This is the left cabinet, upper hinge, center cabinet, upper hinge. From the humidity of the shower, there's some rust on the metal vent. So I'm going to take a wire wheel brush hooked up to a drill. I also mark each trim piece so it can go back in the exact same spot. I remove the old nails. If you're real careful, you can reuse these nails. You can straighten them out and hammer them in one by one. I remove the old bumpers. Then I sand real good, remove the varnish so the paint sticks. Then I vacuum and wipe it down with a damp cloth to remove the dust. And I use a foam sanding block to get in the crevices. And then I drill holes for the hardware. Got this at Walmart for like $12. And this needs to lay flush against the drawer. And the screw head kind of pops up. So I'm gonna drill this into the hole a little bit so the screw head will recess. And now the screw head is totally underneath. Then I mask everything off with this blue painter's tape. This is red rosin paper. Get it in the paint section of Home Depot. Costs just a few dollars. And this helps block the splatter from the paint roller. And here's my painting gear. I've got some nitrile gloves. I use these disposable brushes. It's just a few dollars for a whole box of them. I just throw them out when I use them. I'm using oil-based paint, Rust-Oleum and Kills primer. I used foam rollers. I like these yellow ones, Foam Pro. Unfortunately, Home Depot doesn't carry them. I gotta order them online. The foam rollers at Home Depot are these high density and they do not work. So do not try to use those. Get these yellow ones. Another helpful tip is I take some aluminum foil. Makes cleanup easier. I can just pull this off and throw it away. And here I put some screws through some scrap plywood, and this like holds the drawers up in the air with just a few little points. And I use the chip brush to get in the crevices. Then I come back with the roller and smooth everything out. And you can take these foam rollers and put them in a plastic bag. Get the air out, seal it up, and I can reuse that tomorrow. I do 2 coats of oil-based primer and then 2 coats of oil-based Rust-Oleum paint. And in between each coat, I lightly sand with a fine grit sandpaper. This is 150, and it gets rid of little bubbles, and sometimes you get grit and fibers from the paintbrush. Then I wipe it down with a damp rag. Well, I've decided to do a 3rd coat. You can still see a little bit of primer. And I take one of these little felt pads and put them in each corner. I'm using a pneumatic brad nailer to attach the trim. And this little part needs some caulk. And a good tip is to take a glass of water, dip your finger in it a little bit. Gives it a nice smooth edge. And then I fill these little nail holes with regular spackle. And I smooth it out with a little putty knife. Then I take a damp paper towel and gently run it along, remove the excess. And after the spackle dries, I come back with a paintbrush and touch up the trim. And here's the final result. It took about 7 days, like 1 or 2 hours per day. The drawers pull out nice and easy. And I like the finish of the Rust-Oleum oil-based paint. With the foam roller, it gives a nice even texture.